Hello friends, welcome back to Akida. In the previous lecture, we have seen some of the problems based on the seepage analysis. Let us continue with that. Let us first read the question what is given. The flow net constructed for a dam shown in figure 1 taking the coefficient of hydraulic conductivity 4 into 10 power minus 6. So K value is given as 4 into 10 power minus 6 meter per second. So what we have to find? Quantity of flow under the dam per meter length, isn't it? So how do we have to find out that? So if you recollect the formula, how to find the seepage discharge? That is nothing but a, if I say it is a Q, that we can express it as K into H into NF by ND. So in the previous cases, we have seen that H value is directly given, NF value is directly given, and ND value is directly given. Now let us see in this problem. See in general, what is the head available? So most of the times your head available is nothing but a difference between the water levels. Now see, this is what upstream water level and this is what downstream water level. What is the difference in head between these 2 points? 6.3 meter. So the head available is 6.3. And for finding the seepage and flow, we have to find number of flow channels. So how many flow channels are there? What is flowing from this channel? What is flowing from this channel? And also what is flowing from this channel? So how many number of flow lines are there? 3. And how many head drops are there? So just count one in between, one head drop, second, third, fourth. Like if I take, if there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So total how many head drops are there? 10. That's it. Substitute in the equation. Our K value is given as 4 into 10 power minus 6. Our head available is nothing but a difference in the water level 6.3 into number of flow lines we obtained it as 3, number of equipotential drops 3/10. So if you solve this, the option will be 7.56 into 10 power minus 6 meter cube per second per meter length of the beam. Right? What is the difference in the previous case? All these values are directly given, but in this case, depending upon the diagram, we have to pick up those values. Now, move on to the next. How would water rise above the ground level if piezometric is placed at a point A on the base of the dam? That means what they're asking. Suppose if I keep the piezometer here, how much water level will rise here? So that is what they're asking about. So indirectly what they're asking, they are asking about the what will be your pressure head at point A. Right? So how can I find out that pressure head? Isn't it? So the pressure head is nothing but a what is the head last at that point. Suppose what is the head level between upstream to the downstream side? So the maximum hydraulic head is 6.3 meter. So by that time, that means by reaching to the point A, how many heads are dropped? That means 1, 2, from here to here 1 head, and from here to here another head, and from here to here 3. Total how many heads are dropped? 3 heads are dropped. Let us see for the point A is here. So for the point A, let us count how many head drops are happened. So if you see here how many head drops are happened by this point, 5 head drops are happened. What is the total head available? The total head available will be 6.3 meter. So for 6.3 head available, how many drops are there? 10 equivalent drops are there. That means if one drop is there, what is the head lost? That is nothing but a 6.3 divided by 10. So like that, how many head drops are happened? For the point A, 5 head drops are happened. That is what nothing but your, what is the head loss available at that point? 3.15 meter is the head loss available at that point. Then what is the head available? The head available is nothing but a total head. What is the total head? H minus what is the head loss? 3.15. So total head loss or total head is nothing but difference in the water level. What is the difference in the water level? 6.3 minus head loss is 3.15. That is what nothing but again 3.15 meter, isn't it? So if I keep a piezometer there, my water level will rise up to the 3.15 meter. In the same question, suppose if I add what will be my seepage pressure. Suppose if I ask you what will be my seepage pressure, then we will define it like gamma W into H. H is nothing but a head available at that point. So what is the head available at that point? Let us say gamma W is 10. 10 into 3.15. That implies nothing but a 31.5 kilopascal is the seepage pressure available at that point. Similarly, uh, in sometimes they will ask you about the uplift pressure also. So wherever they are asking you about the uplift pressure, then again, as we are talking about the pressure, then that is nothing but a gamma W into HW. So here HW, this is only due to pressure head. That means all these values we are finding at the same point. So how can I find out the pressure head? So that means what is the total head available? H. From that I can neglect the elevation head, isn't it? Why? Because as the water flows very slow, we don't consider any velocity head. Now look into this diagram. In this diagram, did they mention anything about the reference value? If reference value is not mentioned, then always we will consider that downstream water level as the reference line. So with respect to the downstream water level, what is the elevation to the point A? So it is in the downward side, that means negative. What is the distance? 1.6 meter. So what is the elevation at there? That is what nothing but total head is 3.15 minus of minus 1.6. Then if you solve this, what is the pressure head available? 3.15 plus 1.6, that is nothing but a 4.75. So what will be the uplift pressure? That is nothing but if I assume gamma W is 10, then it is 4.75. That will be equal to 47.5 kilopascal. So in the exam at any point, they might ask you what is the head available at any point, and also they will ask you what is the uplift head. Similarly, they can ask you what is the seepage pressure, and also they can ask you what is the uplift pressure also, right? Move on to the next. If the average length of the last flow field adjacent to the dam and the specific gravity of the soil, the factor of safety against piping failure. So how can you find out the factor of safety against piping failure? So factor of safety against piping failure, that is nothing but a critical hydraulic gradient to the exit hydraulic gradient. Okay. What is the critical hydraulic gradient? We know the formula. They have given you the z value, they have given you the void ratio. So how can I find out? Nothing but a g minus 1 by 1 plus c. What is the z value? 2.67 minus 1 divided by 1 plus 0.75. So if you solve this, we'll get this value is around 0.954. Now at point B, we have to find out what will be your exit hydraulic gradient. So how can I find out my exit hydraulic gradient? That is what nothing but your head loss divided by average length, isn't it? So what is the head loss? At each drop, total head available is 6.3 divided by how many drops are there? 10. So this is what nothing but your exit head divided by what is the average length it is mentioned? 1.25. So if you solve this, we'll get this value as around 0.504. What is the factor of safety then? 0.954 divided by 0.504. So if you solve this, we'll get this value as around 1.89 is the factor of safety available at that point. Right? Move on to the next. If sheet pile was provided at the downstream side, instead of upstream side, as shown in the figure 1, factor of safety against piping would be. So here if you see the question, So as you can see here the sheet file is provided at the upstream side. So instead of that, if you provide the sheet file here, it is obvious that your length of the drainage path will increase and your factor of safety will be increases, right? Now these are what some problems related to the topic seepage analysis. In the next video, let us start the new chapter. Thank you.